with the benefit of a little bit of time and a chance to review the tape, how do you feel like Russell Westbrook played in his first game as a Laker?
Pretty good. We didn't get him involved enough, and that's on me. We continue to look at, situations to make him useful and, not pull away from what AD and Braun are doing. Those guys obviously got going, but I didn't do a good enough job getting Russ going. And, that's an easy fix, something that we're familiar with and keep looking at every day, to get a little more comfortable with it.
Like, have you looked at any other old films, previous games he's played with other teams to see how you can incorporate some of those plays?
A ton. And yes.
Is that something that you guys are?
We already have.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we already have. Yep.
You guys decided on the two big lineup of DeAndre starting center and before. When you went to that a couple of years ago, you guys had some shooters around like KCP and backcourt. With Russ, what is kind of the spacing dynamic that you have to figure out there with just having another guy that maybe is you have the shooter of those two guys work?
Yeah, it can still work. Obviously, we have to be smart with our spacing, and if we're precise with our spacing, we got plenty of room to operate. And obviously, Russ has played with a traditional big, most of his career and has been very, very effective. So that's something we'll continue to look at game to game. I'm not committed to a lineup for tomorrow night, or something that is going to be our lineup going forward. We're still going to explore our personnel and our roster stage, and we'll see where that's at.
Is that something that's easy for, talking about the veteran group and understanding sacrifice? When you say I'm not committed to the lineup for the next game, is that something they understand pretty well?
Yeah, absolutely.
How are those? Yeah, sorry. How are the guys in terms of Wayne and
None.
do it?
Yeah, so Wayne is still out. Nunn has developed some soreness in his knee over the last few days when he was, working to return to play from the ankle. Mm-hmm. And they did some imaging and found a bone bruise they're concerned about. So he's going to be out and likely be reevaluated in 2 or 3 weeks.
Do you know which team?
I don't.
With regard to Wayne, I know you have been a week or so ago, you got the responsibility to be ready by opening night. Obviously, now we're beyond that. Is his also more serious than it?
No, he's getting closer.
Waiting for it to get there.
Yep.
Frank, we kind of knew that injuries were going to naturally put together a more experienced team. Injuries are going to be a part of that story over the course of the year. You've had injuries to some of your younger guys off of the gate. It's just bad luck at this point.
Yep.
How drastic has that changed sort of what your vision of what you wanted opening night or what you need to look like versus kind of what you're able to put on the court now?
Yeah, well, I mean, the great thing is we have depth. If everybody's healthy, we're going to have to make some difficult decisions as to which guys to go to. And it's just brought clarity to those decisions. It's not a situation where we don't believe in the guys that we have. We have the right depth, to still get the job done. We don't feel like that's going to limit us. But there's obviously there's a lot of versatility with the skill sets of Wayne and Talon and Trevor and Monk. Nunn. All these guys that we'll have 82 games to take advantage of. But right now we got the guys in uniform to get the job done.
Considering everything you're going through right now, what's the value of having Avery as a guy who knows your system? I'm sure you tweak some things, but who knows how to play the perimeter role in your system when you're really down on those kind of players? Yeah,
we're short on perimeter defenders, even when we're home, guys that's their specialty. So, he definitely brings something that we need. Obviously he's a two-way player, knocked down a couple of threes the other night. And, I'm really excited we picked him up.
Is that one of the challenges you guys are going to face here early in the season? As guys get comfortable with one another and split scheme defensively that, there aren't as many sort of lockdown perimeter, just one-on-one defenders on the team?
Yeah, obviously it's a concern of mine. But we have to get the job done, regardless of that. And, what I like is we have two-way players. Everyone on the roster is good on both sides. There's just not the specialists that we had, guys that are elite on that side of the ball. But there's other benefits to the other side too. You know what I mean? And, our thing is we just have to get our guys really executing our scheme at a high level. If they execute our scheme and chase guys, chase their perimeter players into our bigs the right way and then pass them off the way we want to within our scheme, we're confident we should have an elite defense again.
AD said that, Ron's talking about always wanting to move in AD and Braun on personnel matters. And AD said that there were conversations in the summer about Avery as a free agent for the training camp with the Warriors. What the thinking was, and were you guys close to bringing him in before he went to Golden State?
I know early on Avery was holding out for a bigger deal. You know what I mean? I think that's once we completed the roster, with the 14,
right,
we were at that point and felt like he was just looking for a bigger deal. He ended up joining Golden State and then being waived, and at that point, we had already begun our camp with our team and. Just had a little bit of a different lens on.
And then the injuries, I guess, made it more.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Well, he's got the primary assignment on staff. He played the fourth most minutes beyond big three. What have you seen from him defensively, impact-wise, to kind of get that role as starting shooting guard, playing that many minutes, and just kind of his overall impact? Yeah, he's still learning our system. Obviously he's got a great defensive skill set that we really like, and he's competing at a super high level. But there's still, with all of our guys, a lot of instincts that need to be, I don't want to say corrected, because it's not a matter of them doing things wrong. It's just doing things the way they did it with their previous team, and we just have to get get our scheme in their instincts in their head. So Bays has some of that, that continue to grow and get more solid on. But for our whole group, we're not there yet.
All right, we have time for the last two on Zoom. We'll go Alan and then Mike Trudell.
Hey, Coach. Hey, just a quick question. You're mentioning that whether it's a starting lineup or just lineups in general, it's going to kind of take some time. And is that how common is that in the first 30 days, 60 days? Or is this kind of unique to your guys' situation because there are 11 new players on the roster and circumstances with injuries and so forth?
Well, I think every team, has a little bit of it. But we're going to have a lot of it. And we're going to have a bigger need for patience than most teams because we have 11 new players. It's that simple. Draymond and Steph have been executing that system, for the most part with that exact personnel for many years. Phoenix, obviously went to the finals with their exact personnel that they're bringing in tomorrow night. And, we're very different and new to each other. So there's going to be more of a need for patience with our team than any, but I do think that's part of every team's training camp, every team's early part of their season.
Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Frank, you've referenced the perimeter guys being a little bit, the loss defensively and being a little bit smaller. Just wondered, how does that, if at all, impact some of the scheme? Or is it more about kind of the bigs being able to cover for parts of that? How does that connect for you?
Yeah, our scheme is gonna remain what it is. We're still actually trying to grow some of the things we do defensively. With a lot of study this summer, some things that we can, just continue to build. Our scheme, by the end of our championship run was not very different, but way more advanced than what we started training camp thinking that we were going to be. We just added pieces along the way and added tools into the tool chest that that could just enhance our D, and we're still of that mindset. So, we're trying to sort of incorporate and implement our current scheme while still building it, and that doesn't change with what's happening with the perimeter.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay. All right.